Okay, I think I'm live. We have 0 viewers, but how do I get the...
I think it says live in the top corner, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I don't know how do I promote this? Let me go. I got a little baby. You see this little baby right here just trying to hang out with me?
Oh. Hey. Which one's this one?
This one is Kira.
Oh, Kira. Is this going to count sit down or she stood up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hiya, baby.
How do I get this link?
I think it should be the... Oh, I'm not entirely sure. Can you... There should be a...
I think this is it right here. Oh yeah, here we go. I found it.
Ah, you go. Got yourself snorted.
Oh, whoa, watch out. You okay there, girl?
I'm just cleaning up. Are you okay with the baby?
Yeah. Babies are all good.
Hey, Benji, I got these, I don't know if you've seen these before, these are organic chocolate. This is organic dark chocolate, 70%.
Wait 1 second, Dan. I'm just trying to promote this, so I want to just get this done. And then I can check out your chocolates. I'm all about organic dark chocolate. Love it.
Yeah.
Let me
No, this one's milk. This one's organic milk chocolate. I thought it was organic dark chocolate for the cooking. Yeah. It's the I just want to use my math test. Oh yeah.
Is it the orange one?
No, it's not. Just the bog standard normal one. Yeah, that picture, Benji, was on your... I think you took it on your phone, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I remember asking someone to take it.
Yeah, I hardly remember that as well. That's
Is there people on here yet? Let's see.
I don't. I can't see. I think because you're the administrator. I think you can only.
Oh yeah, 26 years. So hello, people. 26 people. Hello. Wait 1 second. I'm just trying to spread this on all my stuff, but I'm not sure how to. Links. Here we go. Links. Event page right there. That's what I want. Event page or YouTube page. Here we go. That's what. YouTube page. That's what I want. Let's try it. Let's try to do this one more time. Hello to everyone. I just want to thank you to the live Benjamin TV broadcast. I got the ladies here. You want to say hi, ladies? Yep. Judy's just cleaning in the background. JB's doing her thing. And I have Dan from Wales. You want to say hi?
Hey guys, what's going on? All the way from Wales with my.
I'm gonna introduce him, but then I want him to tell you guys a little bit about himself. He is a friend of mine that I met at a meet and greet in Dublin a couple of years ago, maybe, I don't know. But we've stayed in touch. One reason we stayed in touch is our general our similar interest in food, specifically organic food, and he also likes green juice. Dan, why don't you go ahead and take it, tell him a little bit about yourself, and then I'm going to spread this on.
Sure, okay. Okay, so hey everybody who's watching, all 26 and counting of you. So yeah, I'm Dan. I'm from the UK, Wales specifically. I do a lot of vlogging as well now since meeting Benji. But basically, I'm super into like organic foods and like organic lifestyle choices for like keeping fit, and kind of generally like the whole green juice lifestyle, but like, you know, mixing in a lot, mostly organic food. Well, I'd say 95% of my food diet is organic now, and I'm all about that. But yeah, pretty much like Benji, food crazy and organic.
Sweet. And if you guys don't know that, her name is Judy Time. I'm married to this lady.
Hi, we're looking for Belle's dress.
Yeah, we have important stuff that happens on Sundays, like looking for dolls' dresses. And feeding 3 different babies.
Yeah.
Only on Sundays. The rest of the days they fend for themselves. But here, Kira, she's wanting to be involved in whatever's going on. She's not only curious, but she's got to be in the mix. So why don't you say hi? So we have 139 people on here. So I want to say thank you to everybody that's joining us on the broadcast. This is non-scripted. There's no like goal for this other than I wanted to hang out with my friend Dan and talk about organic. A lot of people know that I'm into organic. Some people may even call me organic freak, which I could care less if you think I'm organic freak. The reality is, like Dan, I'm not 100% organic. In fact, I want to say right now, I'm probably less organic than I have been in the recent years because there's more to organic than just having that label organic. So I'd say my percentage right now is about 60 or 70%, but it's only because the organic labeling can be expensive, and I actually buy a lot more like produce from local farms who already have organic practices when it comes to their produce and stuff. They just don't have the organic labeling. So what do you think about that, Dan? That now that you hear that, I don't know if that's something you know about me or not, but
Yeah, well, I can totally relate to that. I mean, when I say like I'm 95% organic, what I really mean is that I suppose I would say percentage of the food I buy, everything I buy, most things I buy will be labeled organic, but they have to have the Soil Association seal of approval. Here in the UK, we have the Soil Association. I don't know if it's the same in America, but the Soil Association, I don't know if you can see this stamp on the back here, this year. So
okay.
So these guys, like, they make sure that like everything is above board with the land that's not over whatever. But yeah, so to get that stamp, you have to be. It's so expensive for like a farmer to get that stamp, or like for like if you're a store and you say I'm going to sell organic food, everyone expects to see this stamp, but because it's so expensive, a lot of the food doesn't have it on, but it's still organically sourced. You know what I mean? Like there's no pesticides used or harmful pesticides used. So I would say I'm with you on that, where like maybe labeling as organic, Soil Association approved, I'm about 70-80%, but for the food that I consume is like 95% organic, yeah. But I get labeled organic freak as well. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, everybody thinks just because we talk about organic that we're like food snobs or anything like that. If I'm at somebody's house or I'm at a restaurant, I might ask if something's organic, but I never ever require. In fact, I make a point not to even make it a big deal because I don't want people to think that I may not want to eat your food, especially when I'm at other people's houses. You know, like if I'm a guest, because you know, food is food. I have a friend of mine who's also into like an organic lifestyle. Their name is the Rob Raws. They and specifically my friend Danimal, and he says what he likes to do is not have any dogma about of food in general. So especially when he's at somebody's house, he feels like there's more to the quality of food than just the fact that it's organic or how it's grown. It's also how much love goes into it. It kind of sounds cheesy, but I actually believe, you know, like when a mother cooks for her child, there's certain energy that is put into that food, which is love, I guess. And you know, the techniques to prepare that food, that can be just as healthy, if not even more, than just the fact that something is clean and organic. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
No, yeah, I definitely think so, because it's like it is definitely about how you present something, like, or how you prepare something. Because I mean, there's a lot of big field of research into things like, you know, how you think about things when you do it, especially with food. It definitely affects how it tastes. So like I think that's definitely a really good factor into it as well. But I think, like you said, it's not just the quality of food. It's I suppose it's how you do it. Yeah, it's like it doesn't have to always be organic, I guess, to make it really healthy. I guess it's how you.
An organic donut is not going to be healthy for you. You know.
Yeah.
I still would eat donuts, organic or not, but I don't necessarily think it's health. I don't think a food is healthy just because it's organic. So that's one. That's like myth. We should do Mythbusters on here. Organic Mythbusters. Okay, that's so fun. But one thing I want to disclose too is Dan and myself. We're not experts. As far as I know, neither one of us are scientists. Any kind of knowledge we have is from personal experience. maybe some research we've done. In my case, a lot of people I know who are experts or have done the research, but I try to base any advice to people on what I experience with my body, because ultimately it's how your body feels and like the performance you get out of it, the health that you have in your life that will really give you the right knowledge, or basically the facts. So I just want to disclose that, because I don't try to act like I'm a Mr. Know-it-all. I just know a lot about my own life. And the one thing I always say in almost all my food videos, when it's whether it's advice or tips or whatever, is everybody's body is different. So my body can react differently.
Sorry, I have a dog. Sorry.
Okay, if you ever, you can mute yourself once in a while too if you ever think there's too much noise on your end. But
Okay,
sometimes I have babies; they just tend to make more noise than you want sometimes. But anyway, so like everybody's body is different. So I know there's certain people out there that they can only eat organic because their body reacts to non-organic food negatively, versus maybe someone like me. I could eat organic or non-organic, doesn't affect me like how it would. And it goes for different types of foods too. There's no one diet that is good for everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
It just depends on so many factors.
Yeah, I guess I think one of the biggest things for me for eating organic food for body benefits is like I don't get sick as much. Like I used to get sick quite a bit, and then I was like, and then when I started doing like the green juicing and like organic lifestyle of eating organic food or picking organic food over, if you have the choice, then I'll go organic. I don't just say like, hey, I'm going to eat organic, and if it's not organic, I'm not going to have it. That's not what I say. So I kind of like yourself, if I'm presented with a choice, I'll go organic, because I believe that me personally, like I feel better benefits from having organic food. And I swear, like I barely get, like if I get sick, I'll get sick for like maybe a day or 2 days. I don't get wiped out for weeks on end like I used to, and it's so weird. But I think like as well as eating organic food, I feel, I don't know, more full of energy, I guess is the best way of saying it. I don't know, it may sound a bit cheesy as well, but I feel so much more like energy from organic food than I do other foods. And it's weird, you can taste different types. When I have like totally mass-produced like spinach or cucumber from a store, when it's just like processed, and then you have like organic, like fresh stuff from like a local produce that we have over here, it's like, oh my goodness, you can just taste the difference. It's so much more full. But I think you're still muted, Benj.
Okay, so the one, sorry, thanks for reminding me. I will say on the other side of that too, not all organic is going to necessarily taste better too. Not all organic's made equally. There are some organic that's just crap. I mean, they just go, in the United States at least, I don't know about there, but there are some companies, big corporate companies, they want that labeling so they get organic. They just do the minimum amount to get the certification. But when it comes to the quality and the taste, it's not always there. There's been studies done, and I hate that they blow up these studies, and non-organic people blow it up. But I think in Stanford or somewhere in California at a university, they did a study on some organic food. Who knows who selected that organic food, and they found that it didn't taste significantly different or have better nutritional value, which I believe certain organics are that way. Just like all non-organics aren't made the same either, right? Like if you've got a farm or orchard that grows apples and that's all they do, but then they want to just start selling like broccoli, but they don't know how to grow broccoli in the best way possible. It's easy to understand in that case their broccoli might not taste as good as a broccoli farm, because they specialize in apples. So sometimes people forget that organic or non-organic, it's still business. They're trying to profit. That's why the one way you can assure yourself high quality food is when you grow it yourself.
That's right. I was going to say, like, that's one of the things I was kind of getting into as well. I was going to start to grow my own food about a year or so ago, but then I had some work done on the house, and I had to take down the greenhouse because it was like rendering going on. But getting back into that now, I just bought a new book on like just growing your own food, and like you can grow a lot of it in the house, and then move it outside. And it's good to grow it in the house as well, because you're getting kind of like that I don't know. It's just plants give a nicer feel and obviously help clean air and I don't marginally, but
There, there are actually, there's studies done about having plants. In fact, it's funny, like it's basically dead, but our Christmas tree, I definitely think even our Christmas tree just being there, it's dying. We water it every once in a while, but just having that, like, there's definitely some kind of energy or there's air that's getting put out, I'm sure. But I try to have some plants, and I hope to get more plants. But yeah, gardening is easy to do. It's easier than people think. And I recently stumbled on a new technique that a landscaper that worked on my yard told me about. It's called tower gardens.
that's
And
right. Yeah.
they use hydroponic technology. If you don't know what that is, go look at it. Not hydroponic, but aquaponics. And it's
Yeah.
like it's a water circulation system. So you can have like a tower of plants all sharing the same water system. In fact, it just circulates. And if you can put minerals or like some additives, which I don't even think you need, but if you want, that's just going to help. I'm going to have one of those for the first time this year. And I'm gonna try to grow all my herbs, smaller bushy type of vegetables, and put it out on my deck. It won't be inside. And the cool thing about this tower is you can spin it. So even if you have a confined area that only gets sun, a small portion a day, you can spin it every single day and have equal amounts of sun to all sides of it. It's gonna be cool. I can't wait to vlog about that because that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, no, I've seen something like that before, and like they use fish in the water, so like have like a tank with the fish in it.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, so the fish feed the nutrients in the plants, obviously, but the plants filter out all the rubbish from the fish, and then the water gets pumped back through and then back to the fish again, and it kind of like goes in a circle where it's cleaning the water for the fish, but the fish, the whatever the fish is letting out is actually feeding the plants as well. So it's a constant just cycle of water through the plants to the fish and then back again, and that's really really good because again you're like it's like a microenvironment. You're controlling exactly what you have. You can see everything as it's growing. And like it's interesting what you said about like people think God like we have there's a big common myth, isn't there? Like people say like today it's so complicated to grow your own food, or it's really difficult to grow your own food. It's to try and stop you growing your own food because obviously they lose out on money. Like massive corporations lose out on money if everyone grew their own food. And this is a bit of a statistic for you to show why this would happen. I mean, in the United Kingdom, there's like about 81% of the land in the UK could grow food, but only 17% of that land is used to growing food, which is just crazy. You think about the abundance of land we've got to grow food, but nobody does it. And the reason, because they don't want people growing their own food because they're going to lose out on money. So I think one thing people do really need to realize is that you can grow food very easily, very quickly, and quite effectively, and it's simple. I mean, look, put it this way: food grows in the wild. You know what I mean? It just grows. Food has always just grown in the wild. You don't need to worry about it. It just grows. So if you're worrying about having to, nature takes its course wherever food grows.
I agree, and there's definitely a need for farms. Obviously, people, this day and age with society and the modern style living, most people can't grow their own food, so you're going to need farms. However, I think when people find out how easy it is and how little time it really takes when you think of what you can get. In fact, like the more gardening you do, the better the yield, and in fact, it's even more worth it. Like it makes you think about so many things. Number one, the difference in flavor and quality. When you're growing your own stuff, you're not using harsh chemicals. You're just feeding water mostly. You might be using some kind of fertilizer, like hopefully organic fertilizer or whatever. But for the most part, your food just tastes way better when you grow it at home. It's fresh because you're picking it right off the plant. It's not traveling thousands of miles. Yeah. And then secondly, it makes you think about what other food is doing. So when you're picking something out of your yard, out of your garden, bring it into your house, and you're using it right away in a salad, then you think, okay, well, for this same product, whether it's like green onions or tomatoes or cucumbers, normally would have to be grown in Mexico. For us, Mexico is a big place. Grown in Mexico, and I have nothing against Mexican-grown produce. I buy stuff from there all the time, but it has to travel all this way. So one, it has to either be picked at before its peak of freshness, or at a time when it can travel best. and it has to travel all that way, and then it gets to the store. You're not showing up at the store right when that's showing up at the store. It might be sitting there for 2 or 3 days, and that makes you think, like, how is it that they can get their vegetables to stay fresh for so long when mine starts wilting within like 48 hours?
Yeah.
It just makes you start thinking. That's why the whole organic thing, to me, so common sense, so obvious, especially after you start growing your own stuff, because you're thinking, okay, if I started spraying pesticides on my garden right here, that would be so weird. But it's so normal for farmers, like big conglomerate, like corporate level farmers, to do it, and you just don't see it, so you don't think about it. And that's why, if you really look into it, put it simply, organic is so obvious to do.
That's right. I mean, it's kind of like the organic style of food growing as well. It's not kind of like you don't have to have that certificate for organic, like, the land has to be completely nothing growing on it, or no pesticides, no chemicals on it for 2 years before you grow anything on it. I mean, that's just like super strict regulations, so that they have such a high bar for getting organic certification. But I mean, just like you were saying about, when you look at Monsanto Corporation, for instance, I mean, they spray, they made Agent Orange, which is like a crazy bad pest. It's like, that killed so much crops in like Vietnam and things. I mean, they make a pesticide now that they spray onto food. Roundup, I think it's called. And you just think, like, they put on like super big chemical suits to spray that stuff onto the food. Yeah, so they're wearing a big suit to spray it onto the food, but you're going to eat that food. So it's like, well, what? It doesn't make any sense. It's like whatever you're spraying into it is going to go into the plants, isn't it? And it's like that, and if nobody believes you can do that trick. I don't know if you've seen it, where you get a piece of lettuce and you cut the bottom of it and you put it into a jar and you pour some food coloring into the water, and the lettuce will soak up all the water with the food coloring and change color. And then you say, well, listen, the food coloring is like the pesticide. Whatever you give the plant, it's going to suck it up, and that's going to be in your food. So people are, and you can't wash it off. I
mean, it sounds obvious to me, but I never thought of it that way, or like I've never seen that done. But that's crazy. Yeah, you're right. And they say that the amounts of pesticides or chemicals or artificial fertilizers you get, are very minimal, and it's not going to affect your health. But it's not about the one time you eat that plant. It's about the many times over many years. And for the most part, chemicals and fertilizers, artificial fertilizers and pesticides are fairly new to modern society. I mean, we've only been using them in mass amounts for probably the last 50 years after World War II.
Right.
So you don't even know really what the long-term effects are. But again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert in this, but if I just looked at it at a common sense standpoint, look at how many different sicknesses or illnesses or diseases there are these days, and you could probably find like a relationship between those and the type of food we're eating in modern society these days, the quality of it. So
but definitely, I mean, I seen a phrase coined on it was on Instagram, and I thought it was so cool. I think I regrammed it, but there was a big sign, and it had like this supermarket with all this kind of stuff in it, and it said, listen, the problem with people is that we're not eating food today. We're eating food like substances, and that is true, because people go out and they're like, oh, I've bought these kind of fruit flavored, I don't know, jellies or something, and you think, well, just eat fruit, it tastes exactly the same, because 70% fruit in it, and you're thinking, like, well, just eat fruit, it's sweet, it's good for you, it'll be nice. But the people are eating products that taste like food, look like food, but they're not actually food. They're like a synthetic version of food. And I think, like, mass producing things on a massive level with super high chemicals in it to keep it like fresh for days and days on end is just like such a bad thing. I mean, you're eating all those chemicals, and your body's never going to get rid of heavy metals and stuff. I mean, just look at lead-based paint, or things like lead or heavy metals that were used in products that children had when they were younger, like toys with lead in them. They had to like ban all these toys and reclaim them back. And then you just got to think, well, it's okay to put in a pesticide, but they can't put it on toys. It's just so weird. But I definitely think that is a link between health and what you eat. Obviously, your body is like, you are what you eat, And like really simply put into a science terminology, the proteins that make up alpha helix and then the amino acids that you intake have to come from a source, really, and that source has to be pure, because if it's not pure, then you can have impurities on your body, because you are just a manifestation of proteins in a certain organized fashion. So I definitely think, like, eat smart, live smart, like you'd be so much healthier.
Yeah, and by the way, everybody, if you go to my Facebook page or Twitter or Instagram, I have the link to the YouTube viewer of this, and then there you can comment. I'm reading the comments. I want to give a shout out to Full Grace 78 says, "Oh wow, hello from Estonia. You once had Estonian beer at Mama Sal's. Much love. I've been watching you since Juliana was born. So hello. I am reading your comments, or I'm trying to." Another question was from Cute Peaceful. How long does this last? I don't have a lot of time. I just wanted to get on real quick, but hopefully I can do these more often. One thing I was thinking before we end this, I don't know, we'll keep going for like another 10 or 15. I'm actually going to go to the co-op and buy some good stuff. In fact, I'm going to buy some stuff for you, Dan. But before we get off, I thought it would be good for any viewers out there that are new to eating healthy, period. And secondly, maybe on the fence about buying organic. What are your suggestions, Dan, as somebody that's been doing this? And obviously you're very passionate. In fact, Dan is probably one of the most passionate organic lovers, I guess you could say, that I know, even though he's all the way across the pond, as you guys would say it. I feel like we have a similar interest when it comes to it, even though it might seem it on the surface. We're not freaks about it, right? We're enthusiastic about it. We want, obviously just clean, tasteful, healthy food, which anybody would want. Do you have any tips, simple tips about how to go about starting an organic lifestyle, or what to buy and what to look for? And I know it's different in Europe, so don't worry about the American standards and certification. Just say it based on where you're from.
Okay, well, so basically, I think a tip to anybody who's going to try and kind of live a bit healthier or try it out, I guess, would be, my first tip would be when you're offered a choice, always go for the organic choice. Just try it, so you'll have a choice. You'll maybe see fruits or vegetables, and they'll be organic or non-organic. And another one is waxed and unwaxed, because something could, like fruit can be waxed to make it look really, really good. So when I stopped taking waxed fruit, just having unwaxed fruit, it's so much different. And honestly, that's another tip. But more importantly than that is just it's kind of like lifestyle choices. Just check labels. Like, if food is containing a lot of GMO products or monosodium glutamate, which is MSG, products are super, super bad for you. So as soon as you just try it, if you say, "Oh, listen, I'll check this product, like I'm going to buy this chocolate, so I'll check the back, and if it contains monosodium glutamate or a GMO ingredient, then I'm not going to buy it. I'll buy the one that doesn't have it in it." And you'll notice a mass difference, almost I say within a week, you'll notice a difference in your energy level and definitely your health, just in general. You won't feel as lethargic. So they're my tips. So check labels, have that choice, and just think smart about it. Just think, well, I've got the choice, I'll go for the organic. But there's no restriction. I think something really important, like Benji, you were saying this before, is that sometimes I'm a bit harsh on myself, and I think, oh, I really want a Dorito, I fancy a pack of Doritos, but I go, oh no, they're really bad for me. But if you get yourself into that mindset, you'll resent the fact that you're trying to be healthy. So having naughty things every now and then is okay, because for the majority of your time.
You're so naughty, Dan.
I'm so naughty. No, but you know what I mean. Like, if you have I'm so bad, I don't want to have this because it's going to make me less of a person. It doesn't make you any different. You just kind of have to vary what you have, but make sure the majority of it you're getting the right choice in what you eat. But I'm getting some crazy stuff on Instagram here, so yeah. Thanks for all the comments. Have I sent the kids talking about the Doritos?
Daddy duties. I don't know what happened. You want to watch this little one? I got Mia here, if you guys want to see. Yeah, great tips, by the way. And you want to get on, Juliana? You want to say hello? Say hello. Say hello.
Hello.
Say hi, YouTube.
Hi, Tuba.
And then say hi, Dan.
Hi, Dad.
Hi, Juliana.
Hi. Hi, Dad.
Juliana, do you like green juice?
No.
What? What? You're drinking some. Do you like green juice?
No.
Go get the green juice. I want you to show everybody your green juice. Go show everybody. I try to make green juice at least once a day, and I always put hers and her. Look, she's drinking. You don't like it? Is it Nami?
Mmm.
Just faking. Mm. Yes, she loves it. And okay, back to what I was. I'm trying to answer that question here, but
Sorry.
oh no, it's okay. My answer for how to go about starting a healthy lifestyle or organic specifically is two. Number one, go to farmers markets and talk to farmers. Okay, they're probably the best. And big corporate size farms aren't showing up at farmers markets. So most likely you're getting like a small farmer, a local farmer, and they'll tell you so much about what to look for, what certifications are bogus, and what is most important when shopping for organic. So that's probably the best resource. And then secondly, you have to be careful where you get your information online. But if you get the Dirty Dozen, there's a list of the Dirty Dozen, or like the fruits and vegetables that you definitely. Be careful, she's acting like T-Rex here. If you go online and find the Dirty Dozen and start there. Potatoes are probably one of the worst things you want to buy non-organic, because you have to think about how they live, or how they're grown. They're grown in the dirt, under the ground, and chemical fertilizers are just swimming all over them. So potatoes are definitely one thing, and I think it's on the Dirty Dozen list. So go online and type Dirty Dozen organic, and you'll see what things not only you should avoid buying non-organic, and then what things you don't necessarily need to buy organic. For example, around here, something that grows easily are beets. Okay, beets grow all year round here in the Northwest, and I imagine you don't necessarily need to buy them organic because it's already something that is easy to grow. So they aren't using as many chemical fertilizers or pesticides and things that grow it. I'm just guessing. I don't know. I'm just based on like what I've seen in the grocery store and talking to farmers. But that's just an example. So.
But yeah, I know the list you're talking about, Benji. There's definitely there's a load of things that you should avoid if they're not organic. I mean, grapes is another big one. What was it? There was another one that was quite interesting.
I almost always buy organic grapes. Grapes, potatoes.
Like berries, like blueberries and strawberries. They're sprayed with all kinds of stuff. Definitely get the organic ones because.
The peel.
Well, because the bugs,
and you eat
it's a softer flesh, or it's a softer skin, so bugs can get into it. Yeah. When you go in that rabbit hole and you find out about what really is happening to your food, you almost do want to go 100% organic, but just not realistic for people that can't afford it. And two, it's almost impossible if you want to lead a normal social life. So, how are you supposed to go to a restaurant and expect all the ingredients are organic and for them to be able to compete? It's just not possible, right?
No, it's unrealistic at the moment.
And again, it goes back to the thing. It's not about the, a few times a week you go out to dinner at a restaurant, or, you're eating at family and friends' house during the weekend. It's about the every single day habits that you have, right? Are you eating an organic apple, a non-organic apple every single day when you consume apples, right? Or are you mostly eating organic, but then when you go out, you have like apple pie, you don't even care about what's in it, or if it's organic or what the labeling is. That's what I think is most. It's just like that in most parts of life. Like exercise is the same way. You don't have to exercise every single day. It's like, what are your habits on a weekly basis rather than on a daily basis? That's going to make the biggest difference, I think. Because the one thing I think is unfortunate is when people burn themselves out. They go so crazy on paleo diet or vegetarian diet or all natural diet, or even organic, just buying everything organic, and then they have no money and they're like, oh, I can't do this anymore, and then they give up. I try to give advice based on realistic, simple, and easy to do habits that give you long-term results.
Well, definitely. I think that's really true. I mean, like a lot of people, like you said, it depends where you source your information as well. I mean, there's a lot of information misleading on the internet, kind of like inexperienced people writing a lot of stuff. But I mean, try what's good for you. But he said, don't burn yourself out because you'll just lose interest in it. You'll be like, I said, I can't do it. It's too expensive, or it's too much work, and and you lose heart too quickly.
Okay, and this is another thing I want to mention. Dan and I have no profit in telling you to eat organic. Think about this, okay? Like we don't gain anything from you eating organic or not eating organic. So why would we want to tell you if it's that's like there's nothing bad that can come out of just trying it. In fact, I want to acknowledge Severa Match. I'm still reading the comments, everybody. She says, I would love to eat organic, but unluckily it is very expensive. I totally understand where you're coming from. When I first started eating organic at 18 years old, I couldn't afford everything organic. So again, it goes back to try to eat as much organic as you can afford at first. But think about this. This is something that's, when you think about it, you almost can easily afford organic. For the most part, not all of it, but for the most part, organic food is not only more delicious, but it's also more nutritious. So you don't need as much. And in fact, because it's so nutritious, you eat less of other things like carbs, right? Like bread and rice. Because your body, it's all about survival and trying to be as healthy as possible. So if your body is getting the nutrients from the food that you're eating, it doesn't need to consume as many calories to get those nutrients. Right? What do you think about that, Dan?
Yeah, no, I definitely think so. I mean, kind of the same on the same lines is like you'll feel much more satisfaction from eating a lot of fruit and veg than you would from eating a lot of meat and carbs. Because I mean, meat is a really good source of protein, but at the same time, it's kind of like it can be damaging to you if you have any more than like 5% meat in your diet. It could be potentially damaging to you. So again, something to keep on board. I mean, you can have over like I don't know. You can have way over 25% of plant protein in your diet, and it won't affect you at all in any damaging ways. But definitely, I'd say like the choices you make with the food you eat, like you said, if you're eating more nutritious foods, like and a lot more, like it doesn't have to be a substantial amount more. But it'd be almost less than if you're eating carbs, because carbs don't even fill you up that much. It just gives you temporarily like a feeling of temporary fullness. But yeah, no, I totally agree with you there. Like if you're eating more fruit and veg, you're gonna feel so much better. You don't have to spend much money.
Bigger picture, long-term thinking here too, and I hear this from a lot of people that try to lead a healthy lifestyle in general. Think about what the average amount of medical bills are for somebody's lifetime for whatever disease or whatever people eventually go through as they get older. That could be like prevented with healthy eating, including clean food that doesn't have the crap that basically destroys your body. So it might cost more now, but when you compare it to how much people typically spend on average on medical bills, and in the United States it's horrible how much people spend in the medical system, I'd rather spend that on organic food now than to have to spend it later. And I know insurance covers a lot, but insurance is not cheap. Yeah, see, Mia is very passionate about this. Very passionate. It's important to her, right?
I think for the bigger part as well is I think like a lot of people getting ill from food is because again, like I was saying about food-like products. I mean, not specifically organic food in general, but it's the types of food people eat, because a lot of people eat like more refined foods and sugar and salty foods, and these kind of refined foods that are just like synthetic almost in properties, they're making people a lot more ill. And even if you can't afford organic all the time, but just try and have more raw food. Like I suppose that's the best way of saying it. More like you said, more farmers market food, more fruit, vegetables, that kind of. Stay away from kind of the oil-based foods, I guess, because you're going to feel the benefits. And especially if you're in America, I'd rather spend money on food, good quality food, than I would on medical bills. Because hey, why you're not going to fight anything putting more chemicals in your body? You know what I mean? So even if you're the best, some of the best doctors in the world, they're going to tell you to eat a better diet anyway. So
yeah. Unfortunately, in Western medicine, your diet or nutrition isn't the main focus for healing the body. And again, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know exactly what all doctors say, but from what I hear, especially like people in my own family, they get prescribed pills. They're not told, okay, start eating more salads, okay?
Yeah.
Add a couple more cups of green juice to your diet and avoid all fast food. Rarely are they ever told that.
Yeah,
no common sense. You don't go to McDonald's when you're trying to heal your body from anything. You put natural, or organic, no pun intended, but you try to put like raw foods into your body to try to heal it, because living foods is what's going to repair your body, not dead, overcooked, deep fried stuff. Which, don't get me wrong, I love eating those things. I will eat deep fried chicken just as fast as anybody else. I love French fries. I'll eat donuts. Somebody just brought me bundt cakes the other day, and they were topped with all kinds of frosting. I ate some, and I don't think anything of it. Again, it goes back to like how you perceive food. You know, like I don't think of it as a negative thing. I eat enough healthy food and exercise enough to where I can eat those kind of things, and I don't feel guilty, so it doesn't have the negative effects that it has on like somebody that has that negative perception on food.
That's right. I think it's like smart thinking as well with that, you know, because like you said, I mean, like eating raw foods and just exercising, and if you are gonna go out and have like fried chicken or whatever, then just kind of think, well, how can I offset this balance? You know, I'm gonna go running, or I'm gonna work out, or I'm gonna have a green juice tomorrow, or whatever. But it definitely works. There's a really good documentary on Netflix. I don't know if you know, and actually you can watch it on the website for free. But it's called Food Matters, and it's a very good documentary.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yep.
Yeah, it's really good. And there's another one called Farmageddon, and that's a really good one as well. But if anyone wants to get educated, I think Food Matters was a really good one. But there was a British, I think, documentary called My Big Fat Green Diet or something. It was about green juicing, and I can't remember how it got. But it's following this guy who's like extremely overweight and obese, and he had all these medical issues, and he tried juicing for like 30 days.
I've seen it. Yeah, the guy that juices, and then he helps his trucker start juicing. And he did like a road trip or something. And you know, as far as the end of the movie, when they followed up, he started eating food again, but started implementing more healthy choices, like more salads, less deep fried stuff. And he's still juicing as well, but just not exclusively juicing like he did in the movie. And he seemed to be happy and healthy.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it was having a massive effect on his body, because he was obviously he was healing the body. You know, the body cries out for like water and like vitamins, and he was just drinking and eating the wrong stuff. So I think, you know, green juice was so effective. Honestly, Benji, since I started green juicing, it was just amazing. Like you just feel so like, come on, like I just feel so like with it, you know.
It's so easy to consume lots of nutrients through juicing, especially when you do it in the blender, not in the juicer, where you get all the fibers, you get the pulp, and you get 100% of the nutrients rather than it being, you know, separated between a juicer's juice and the you know, remains or whatever. But I do got to go here soon. I'm sorry, everybody. I've got some daddy duties as well as some shopping to do. But before, I want to honor somebody. Cutie Pie 44507 says, so Dan, can we talk about organic chocolate now? Which I was going to go buy some organic chocolate today, so why don't we talk about that as our last thoughts? Tell me about the one that you have. I think we have that here.
Yeah. Okay. So this is so organic chocolate is kind of like a really good one, because you don't know where the product is sourced from again, so you don't know who's spraying what on it, and it, you know, if it's got any impurities on it. But this is one I buy. This is organic chocolate made by a company called Green and Black. I only buy the dark chocolate version because to eat just as a snack. And this is 70% dark chocolate. You can actually get a higher one. You can get an 80% one as well, which is extremely tasty. But this is a nice one for a snack. I actually use this a lot because it's good for cognitive thinking, especially with like mathematics and stuff. If you want to get your brain into a number crunching pattern, eat some chocolate. It'll get that part of your brain moving. But organic chocolate's really good, and it's really good for you as well. If you're working out or you're dieting and you want a snack, organic chocolate is the best way to go. You can also get it in a cooking form as well. I have this Green and Blacks do like a cooking version of it. I mean, again, because a lot of people say that like chocolate's bad for you, and I guess anything with refined sugar and it's going to be somewhat bad for you, you know. But cocoa bean is actually really good for you, and if you're getting it like a 70% ratio of cocoa bean in this like chocolate bar, then you're going to get a lot more nutrients out of this than you would do, say, a milk chocolate bar, because obviously you're just having a lot more milk, which is probably from a cow with bovine growth hormone. It's going to have all kinds of crazy antibiotics in it. So I would say organic chocolate, dark chocolate is the best one to choose. But if you are going to go for milk chocolate, make sure it's organic milk chocolate, for the simple fact that you're not going to have bovine growth hormone within that milk. You know, it's going to be sourced from somewhere which is a normal farm, a natural farm. There's going to be no antibiotics or any kind of drugs within the cow's system. So that would be my advice on chocolate.
Yeah, I buy the exact same brand, and I have other brands I like too. I try to buy organic chocolate when I can. Unfortunately, at most grocery stores, it's not always available. In fact, but you do see it more and more these days. But I love chocolate. I did hear about eating chocolate at least 60% or more cacao bean, or when it's dark, it's better. I still like milk chocolate way better. I don't eat it as much now because really the thing the thing you want to watch out for in chocolate is the sugar, refined sugar. That is, like, if you think about truly the enemy to most modern health negative things that happen to people through health, it's refined sugars that's doing it to you. That's why I'm trying to get that dark chocolate is better. But I love my milk chocolate. I grew up on milk chocolate, and when I get it, I appreciate dark chocolate flavor, and that's what I eat most of the time, especially when you have a high quality one. But when you put that milk chocolate in, oh, so good, right?
I'm the same. I mean, milk chocolate, because it's the milk. Everyone wants the milk. But
Yeah.
yeah, right, Benjamin. Like, refined sugar in high quantities becomes toxic, like anything else. Like water in high quantities will become toxic. And the thing that your body craves a lot is sugar and salty things, because it wants to hold on to the calories. From when we were back in cavemen and we weren't really holding on calories that well. So yeah, try and get like the least amount of refined sugar into your diet. I mean, that would be so much of a benefit to anybody.
And the last thing I wanted to talk about before you get off, and myself as well, is talk about your channel. You recently did did a move between YouTube channels, and we never really got to get into it. But do you mind if I talk about what
Go ahead.
Dan has Asperger's. I don't know a lot about it, but I know that that's one of his motivations, to eating clean. Can you talk a little bit about that, and then tell them about your channel so people can follow you, especially if they know somebody with Asperger's, they can tell them about it.
Yeah, sure. So basically, I mean, for me, eating organically and definitely eating kind of like fresh food and like fresh produce is such a must really in my lifestyle, because having Asperger's, salts and sugars really play on caffeine and things like that, really play on my brain and kind of get me into a hyperactive state, and it really it's not good for my mental condition, I guess, is the best way to explain this. So for me, it was a choice. I had to kind of get rid of all sugary drinks out of my diet, all like fizzy sodas, and then kind of really rethink how I was living my life, because I was super hyperactive all the time. I was breaking hands, I was breaking bones all the time. I was losing friends, I was doing the wrong things in public. So to me, lifestyle-wise, I had to do those things. But because of that, I kind of really focused in on it, and I was like, anything else that I want to put my mind to, I really homed in on it, and I was like, right, it's organic or nothing right now. I've got to learn about it. I've got to learn everything I need to know. I'm going to get all the best things in. So I did that, and then I decided that when I was looking for information on other people who had Asperger's syndrome, I couldn't really find anything on the internet that was of any substantial kind of information that I really wanted to know. So I decided to make this channel, the Aspie World, on YouTube, which is just youtube.com/Aspie World 1. That's ASPIE World 1. And then I just talk about those kind of things, like, what kind of things work best for me, like, I don't know, just information that I think people with a similar condition or the same condition would find interesting. And also, like, I was talking to Benji about this earlier, a lot of people don't know that Asperger's is an autism spectrum disorder. It's actually high-functioning autism, and a lot of people don't understand the difference or know what it is like to know somebody or see what autism was like on somebody with a high-functioning ability like myself. So it's kind of nice to put that across in a way where people can just sit down and kind of watch it and be like, oh, I get it. But that is my channel. So please, if if anybody wants to check it out, I talk about food. I'm in a band, so we follow my band around when we're playing shows, and occasionally you'll see I do kind of random videos every now and then on other things as well, like I don't know, random stuff. But yeah, a lot of food, a lot of music, and I just vlog as well. Daily vlogs now, actually.
Cool, man. And I'm glad you told me about that recently, because I used to watch your vlogs, and now I'll continue watching them. I like watching his vlogs because he talks about food that he's.
Yeah.
I always love experiencing people's food culture, especially when they live in another country, because it can be much different.
Yeah,
And,
no, definitely.
check him out. I put his Twitter and his Instagram handle on my post that I did of this. If you guys want to follow him on there. And I do also want to give a shout out. He also has this business called Geeky Goodies or Geek Goodies, and we got a package recently, and it was actually cool stuff. Like there's some cool toys. Like you don't have to be like a geek, I guess you could say.
There's an
Olaf
doll
figurine, and there's
the
snowballs.
Oh yeah.
Snowballs in the summertime. If you want to go check that out, go check out Geek Goodies and My Geeky Goodies. But yeah, man. Hey, thanks so much, Dan, for getting on. And I want to acknowledge one more comment. It was from Julie View. She said, "Benji, weren't you buying a crap load of KFC a couple weeks ago?"
I see.
KFC's good.
Yeah, really good.
It's like probably the worst chicken you could ever buy, but it still tastes good. And I probably do it once every few years. So.
Well, do you know the chicken in the UK, here in Wales, the chicken we use in KFC here is organically farmed chicken. So,
what?
Hey.
Well, you should have told me that when I was there, because I would have went on an exclusive KFC diet if I knew that.
Well, see, a friend of mine used to work in the farm where he used to help the chickens, and then I was like, well, who's your main supplier? And he was like, oh, KFC, like, but the local KFCs. So it was quite interesting that they were producing like organically farmed chicken for KFC. It was so weird.
See, that is a result of people voting with their wallets. Okay, when I say voting with their wallets, they're buying organic foods. They're starting to demand higher quality foods, and then you get a business like KFC starting to source from better chicken sources. That is so cool, and I hope one day America or United States can be like that. Are you just gonna take over?
Say, I love chicken. No.
Say chicken.
No.
Can you go? Baka?
Ah!
What sound does a lion make? Do it to the camera. Go roar. Okay, she's gone. She almost hit her head. All right, you guys. Dan, adios. To everybody else, thank you for joining us. I hope to do more this year leading up to December, which, by the way, if you're watching or help donate it, thank you so much for supporting. And anything else you want to say before I end this, Dan?
No, just eat smart. Remember to think smart when you're picking your choices of food. And yeah, just check me out on YouTube if you want to.
Oh, that's cool. How'd you get Daniel Morgan on there on your banner? That's cool. I need to do that.
Yeah, well, there's a Hangout Toolbox application on the left-hand side of the screen. When you launch the Hangout Toolbox, you're able to use the small profile thing, and you can put all kinds of stuff in there. So I think I put my channel name in there as well. I don't know if you can see that.
Cool. All right. That's cool. I'll have to do that next time. So, all right.
All right.
Peace out, everybody. Bye, Dan.
Bye, guys. Bye, Judy.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.